Hi, it's Morag from our Permaculture Life. Feeling pretty exhausted at the moment because I've just had 3 days of a high school geography camp here with us. It's a program that's been coming to visit us for about 20 years now, and we absolutely love having them here. We explore everything from looking at ecological design principles to how to make a garden really simply, looking at the impact of our life on the planet, on peoples in other parts of the world. We look at how permaculture can be applied in the home, in the community, but also looking at how permaculture is applicable to other parts of the world. And some of the students that have stayed in touch have actually said this has been one of their most amazing experiences that they had at school, which is so heartening. This group we've just had saying that one of the things they realised was that it wasn't actually that hard to live far more sustainably, and that it looked like a really, really great thing to do, and they felt inspired to go away and do more. So we had 50 16-year-olds exploring this for that time, and they were so positive and so into it, and I'm really, really enthused by the response that we had from it. Last week we had more than 100 grade 6 students who were here, who were equally just totally inspired to go away and do something differently, to go away and implement it in their life, in their school, and they've been talking about it ever since. And I think it shows to me somehow that these bigger questions about life, about, what's our purpose and how can we live well and what is a good life and what can we do to make a contribution, rather than just going from, one subject to another subject, from one test to another test, actually looking at really in-depth questions about what it is to live and how we can live well. And they absolutely loved it. And so we spent time down the river, beautiful natural river right at the very upper catchment of the Mare River, beautiful overshadowing trees, dappled light on the the water tumbling over the rocks. And it was down there that we explored about what it is that they thought in 10 to 15 years' time, how they could imagine what their life would be as a good life. We also mapped out the 4.3 billion years of Earth's development, looking through in 430 metres. So we put a sign at each of some of the key things. So, like where the Earth formed, where the first cell formed, the first multi-cell organism, the dinosaurs, fish, mammals, and then right up to where humans began being on this planet. And also right at the very end, it's like 1/50th of a millimetre from the end of our journey, we walked along the river, was where industrial revolution has taken place. And we then asked them to think about what impact humans have had on the entire planet and planetary systems in such a short period of time. And it was a really interesting conversation. And that was one of the things that their students fed back on when they were at the end of the session, that had a really big impact on them, to think, gosh, I hadn't really thought about the impact of my actions before. And one thing they're going to go back and do tomorrow is at school is watch all the war on waste sections, because that was one of the things that even the teachers were surprised about. We were talking about the program from the ABC, the war on waste, and one student out of the 50 had watched it. So that's something they're going to go back and do tomorrow. So it's a gorgeous afternoon here in the garden. We've just packed up and just going to relax and have a cuppa, put our feet up, and then get ready, because not tomorrow but the next day we'll have our final open garden tour here in our garden for 2017. Evan will then head down the next day and do a sustainable living talk in the middle of Brisbane, and I'll be going down the next day to run a session on plants and food and how to harvest just absolutely superb food from your garden really simply. So it's been a busy time, July and August, for us, but it's just absolutely fantastic, and we're really, really loving it. I hope perhaps that, there's more opportunity in the future for running more camps like this that have a really, really deep focus on systems thinking about the future. What is it? what is it that, how are we going to live into the future, and imagining that. And I think it's really powerful that students come here and they can actually see perhaps a different way, where people have made different choices to be, debt free, to grow much of their own food, to choose to live in a simple way of life, and to homeschool kids and do all the different sorts of things that, we kind of consider as normal. But these kids came in, and I guess they were from quite privileged lifestyles, and it seemed like a really different way of living. And one of the students a couple of years ago even said, "Oh, it's so fascinating to come to a place and see there's a whole other civilization." And I think what he kind of meant was that, it's a different way of thinking, it's a different way of life, but not so vastly different that they can't see themselves living it, which is what we've actually intentionally done. That, our house is just quite a modern Queenslander, but it has all the ecological features. Our garden looks really quite, neat and presentable, but it's all edible and it's all sustainable. And so it's a switch, like a simple switch in lots of different aspects, a conscious switch in lots of different aspects of your life that all add up to a significant change. So just a bit of a reflection on the work that we've been doing. This is the work that sustains me. I teach. That's my role as in my life as a worker, I suppose. I teach permaculture and sustainable living from young children from primary school age, homeschool kids, but also high school, university groups and adult education groups. So teaching is my main thing, and also just doing design work. But teaching and being in group environments and exploring these ideas and helping to open up different ways of seeing things is what really sparks me. But right now I'm feeling fairly exhausted. You can probably see from my face, and it's time to actually go and put my feet up. So I'll catch you all later. It's Morag, Our Permaculture Life.